to episode 28 of Comics and Us. I'm TJ.
And I'm Chris.
And I'm Lumpy.
And this is the review show that reviews comics, chronologically. Kind of. Alright, so we're in our off-season, so we're going to be covering some comics that have nothing to do with Batman. We were just going to cover 3 comics that we chose, but because of me and Lumpy fighting about P.S.As the other day, we decided to do a P.S.A.
Let's fix that. We did not decide to do a P.S.A.
I want to point out...
we did not.
I want to point out they're doing this under protest.
We're going to have a PSA. We're going to have a PSA about our PSA episode here.
To be fair, I will point out though, before I told them, they agreed to this before we read any of what this comic is. So they did agree to it. I just want to throw that out there.
I won't fight that. But
we're going to take a bold stance on this podcast. We are against child sexual abuse. No matter what we say on this episode, we are 100% against it. Please do not come after us. Do not try.
There is nothing anywhere in any of us. We all agree that it is a horrible, horrible thing, and it is not okay. We do not condone it at all.
Anything we say as comments during this podcast is about the quality and way they went about it, and not about the actual sexual abuse.
Yes, I like that. That is the way to say it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So go ahead, TJ. Tell them what you picked.
Well, it's called Spiderman and Power Pack. It's actually not my first choice. It was the second choice.
Okay.
My first choice was Wonder Woman and Superman on the Horrors of Landmines.
Oh, that's a good one.
But I
wouldn't have felt as bad about that one.
I couldn't find it anywhere
online
at all. I found it on eBay for like $600.
Wow.
Yeah.
I might have bought it for all of us rather than do this. Okay.
Rather than this one.
I would have paid the $1,800 for 3 copies.
This one is amazing with the subject matter. I cannot believe they actually put it out. So we'll get into it, but
it's amazing.
So this is sponsored by the International Association of Direct Distributors and your local comic retailer. It is also produced in cooperation with the National Committee for Prevention of Child Abuse. It was... Hold on. Let me bring it up. The cover artists are John Byrne, June Bridgman, and Bo Wack. I can't pronounce that. Wlaceck.
So like too many continents.
Yeah.
Constant, not enough vowels.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it said whacker, and it made me a little more disturbed about this comic.
I said continents like it was a world, not like a consonants. Go ahead.
All right. So that's who drew the cover. Yeah, it was released September 1st, 1984, which is 2 months before I was born, so that's interesting. Right. And the cover has Spider-Man swinging across the city with a kid in his hand. The comic is apparently free, because it's big free on the sign. And then it says, meet the sensational Power Pack down in the bottom corner. And then there's also another thing. The National Education Association recognizes this publication as a viable attempt to, educate children about the problems of child sexual abuse.
Now, they must have been handing this out, right?
Yes.
I'm guessing that.
I think if I would have brought this home and my mother would have picked it up and read it, she would have threw this out. She would have said, what are you reading?
I don't know.
I do understand that there's a good mission behind it, but I don't know that it's good for kids to read about.
Yeah, it's sure.
Good. It's good to. We'll get into it.
Well, there must have been a lot of copies of it because I did see this on Amazon for $5. So
I didn't see that. What year is this, TJ?
1984.
Okay,
84.
So you two are still talking. So you didn't just hear what just happened to me.
No.
A commercial, I don't know if it's come from this website, just blasted through my headphones. Something about dial and ingredients and stuff.
I told you, this website is a little wild.
Like I was scared to death. I'm looking around my room thinking, what is going on here? And you guys just kept talking. My heart's racing. That's how loud it was in my ears.
We never heard it. It never came through.
Oh, God, I hope it comes through because it was loud, like super loud.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear it even in the slightest, so.
My next
I could have dropped out of a heart
is,
attack.
do we know what Spider-Man this is?
What do you mean?
Like, who is this?
Oh, this is Peter Parker.
Oh, it's got to be Peter Parker. There was no other Spider-Man at this point.
Yeah, there's...
It's true.
This is before the Clone Saga and all that other crap.
Yeah. So now my next question is this canon?
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
Yeah, because I had a lot of questions. I was like, I gotta save all this for the podcast because I'm like, I'm like, is this canon? This is something I would like to know. Is this something that they leave in as his story?
I don't know.
Was this a thing, Power Pack? Like, I don't know this comic.
I don't know them either, but I think they were.
Power Pack was actually a pretty big comic. I don't know that they were like popular, but they have multiple like cross storylines where they're with like they like teamed them up with different people. The Power Pack comics that I have read are nothing like this short one in this.
Okay.
I mean, it's not it's nothing like any of this. No. But Power Pack's not bad. It's not a terrible read. I don't think it's anything that's like go out and read Power Pack today, but they're not bad. They're readable.
It does the drawings and the way that they do it. It does seem like the Saturday morning cartoons of the time. So I mean, it does.
That's how they kind of did both of these P.S.As. I feel like they're more of like a comic strip style than
more for kids, more drawn.
Yes,
towards children.
Exactly. And they're short and they're quick. It's not.
But I was asking,
not a
is
whole
there
lot
like
a story?
Is Spider-Man and Power Pack a thing, or was this just? It was just like a.
I'm pretty sure Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure Spider-Man and Power Pack do. There is a comic with them together. There was a Power Pack and Moon Knight.
Okay, so they just traveled around visiting everybody. It sounds like.
Yeah, basically they were like, but they do have their own standalone comic. I think it was only like 10 or 12 issues that I remember.
Okay,
but they might have more. You know how sometimes they have those different series. But I think the one that I had read was only like 10 or 12 comics long. And it was standalone. So, they weren't with anybody else.
Are we purposely stalling because we don't want to get into this?
No, I'm stalling because I'm looking up if this is canon or not. That's why I'm saying. Keep going. I'm on to something.
I figured we were stalling because we didn't want to find out the secrets that are going on in this comic. So
also, so in the first before we even get into the story, I'm gonna go into the first panel here, Uncle Chris. When you go down to the not the first like the splash page that says secrets, but the next page down. In that first panel, what is Peter Parker doing?
He's developing film.
Yeah, he's developing film.
Yeah, well, it matches his costume very nicely. That string that he's pulling out of his underwear is
wait, that was underwear? Are you on the next page? Is that where you're at?
You see where he's got that, so...
Oh, yeah, what is going on there?
I'm like...
This is not the right comic book for that. Like, somebody should have looked at that and said, whoa, stop right now.
Once I read it, and then I remember going back, and I was kind of like scanning through just to kind of get a little more like... And I saw that, and I was like, wait, what the f***? That should not be in this comic now.
Yeah, no.
All right.
Wow.
I'm ready. Are you guys?
Yeah, we're ready. We're going.
I'll bring it up when we get to it. So we open up with a giant... Well, first, this first story is called Secrets, and it features the Amazing Spider-Man. The story... Let me bring up what did I do with it? Was written by Nancy Allen and Jim Salcrup. I did not look up any of these people, what they did. I just put in their names in there for, credits.
Yeah.
The penciler was Jim Mooney, inker Mike Esposito, colorist Ken Funduwasi, I can't pronounce his name, whatever. Letterer L.P. Gregory, and the editor was Jim Salcrup. So, we open up with Spider-Man swinging through New York. He's in New York, right? That's where he's based out of?
Yeah. Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, okay. So he just beat up some people, and he's talking about how he he makes a living developing film, taking pictures of himself. And then we go into the comic panels proper, and Peter's developing film. Oh, wait, before we go any further, what are your guys' history of Spider-Man? Do you know a lot about him?
I watched the Spider-Man cartoon every day before school when I was a kid. Every single day. So that's how I got introduced to Spider-Man. Yes, I've read many Spider-Man comic books, too.
All right.
And I have very minimal knowledge of Spider-Man. To be honest, I tried reading some, and I was never really a big Spider-Man fan for some reason.
The 90s,
can't say why.
The 90s Spider-Man series that came out same time as the X-Men was awesome. Was completely, and I watched every episode. I think I still own it, as a matter of fact.
Which is crazy, because I loved X-Men. Loved X-Men. I love
Spider-Man was
right
along the same lines. That Spider-Man was really good.
Yeah, for some reason, I guess maybe I was just into X-Men at the time, and I just was never really like a big, I like Spider-Man. I don't have any problem with it. I just was never, it never caught me. I never really followed all of Spider-Man's stuff.
Well, that series is on Disney Plus right now. Go watch it. We'll wait.
Okay. This is us stalling from covering this comic again, so I will be watching.
I don't know a lot about Spider-Man as much as I do Batman, but I know a pretty fair deal about him.
Yeah.
I'm pretty familiar with pretty much all the current, more popular superheroes, so...
Right.
Yeah, and I know the basics of him. I know some of his stories. I know some of his crossovers and stuff. I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan, that's all.
Yeah, I was. I was a huge Spider-Man fan.
Alright, so now that we got that established, let's get back into this.
Not anymore. No, actually, he doesn't do anything wrong in this one, to be honest with
you. You're right, he doesn't. He does nothing wrong at all.
No,
he does everything right, to be honest, but it's...
Yeah. I don't know, he does some weird things. We'll get into it.
So he's developing film, and he overhears an argument not an argument, a conversation from his neighbors. I guess downstairs, because he does crawl downwards.
Down.
So, apparently this lady is talking to this little kid, telling him it's going to be our little secret, and the kid agrees. And so, Spider-Man heard enough. He climbs down and knocks on the window and says, "Hey, what's going on?" And then...
she runs away. Like, she's guilty right now. Just right away, she runs away.
She says, "Remember what I said," and she runs away.
And I gotta... She's babysitting. So not only has she committed other crimes, but she just left this small child all alone with some strange man who came through the window.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think she just ran into the other room, but you're right. She's not a good babysitter. We know that, but...
To be fair, it is Spider-Man, but to be fair, I don't know if this was the time when J. Jonah Jameson was making Spider-Man look like a bad guy.
Oh, that would be even worse, you're right.
So,
Listen, if I dressed up as Spider-Man and crawled in your kid's window, you'd be like, "Oh, it's Spider-Man, let me leave the room?"
Yeah, no, you're right.
I'm just saying, regardless if it's Spider-Man or not, you don't leave a young kid with some dude that crawled through the window in pajamas.
Yeah.
You're right, but this is apparently someone that's doing something wrong, so...
I agree, that's what I'm saying, but she's horrible right from the start here. It's not...
She's a terrible
We don't even know what she's done yet.
Right. She's a terrible babysitter in every way you can think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man comes into this kid's room, and he asks him what happened, and then he's like, "I don't know, it's I shouldn't tell, I've been told I'll get hurt if I tell you." And then he tells him, after Spider-Man convinces him. And she said, "Judy was nice, she used to play with me, and then I wanted to watch a movie, and she said, if you want to watch a movie, take off all your clothes."
Right.
And he's like, "I don't want to." And she's like, "Come on, it'll be fun playing grown-ups all night," or something like that. So, and then Heath says that he asked Spider-Man if he did something wrong.
So she never actually follows through with it, right? Spider-Man stops that.
Yes.
Okay, well that's good. At least he got there in time.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. It seems like it didn't happen. The kid told her he wasn't interested and he was tired and was going to bed.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
I don't know why that made me laugh, but the way you said it just...
Well, he was playing grown-ups too. That's what she wanted to do, is play grown-ups. He said, "Nah, I'm not interested, I'm going to bed."
No, thank you.
Yes.
So he asked Spider-Man if he did something wrong. But, I mean, we talked about this off screen because we weren't sure what we should talk about and what we should talk about. But I'm going to bring up, is this kid 12 or 6 or I'm not sure.
He does look young. I was saying 12, but he doesn't. He's very small.
Yeah, especially when they have him standing next to her. He's only like waist high, so he's.
I feel like they did that on purpose. I feel like they did that on purpose to make her look more scary, like around him, because he doesn't look as small with Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't know, but Spider-Man's also sitting down.
True,
and Spider-Man's a kid too.
Yeah, it's fair. He's a teenager.
Yeah, true. I didn't think of that either.
I guess she might be a teenager. She looks older.
I think she's 17, 18 years old. I don't think the kid's a teenager.
Yeah. No, the kid isn't. If he's 10, he's old to me.
Yeah.
Looking at it, if he's 10, then he doesn't look 10.
And I do agree with this premise. Like, I know kids are, something happens to a kid, they're probably scared to death. And they're trying to teach the kids, like, you can't be scared, you got to come forward. It's a good thing.
I agree with that 100%. I mean, you have to teach a kid that it is okay to speak up. You have to be able to speak up.
That's how a lot of these people get away with this stuff, by teaching the kid that they're gonna hurt their family or they're gonna do something wrong. So
right, and she threatens him and says, "I don't want to have to hurt you."
Right.
So he's asked if he did anything wrong, and Spider-Man's like, "Let me tell you what happened to me."
Ugh. This is where it gets weird.
Yeah, I'm blown away by this.
So, when he was a kid living with Aunt May and Uncle Ben...
That's the first panel it goes to, and I thought, oh no, not Uncle Ben.
I was...
Right away,
I agree, right away. I thought the same.
Yeah.
Nah, that would have destroyed the whole lore.
That's why I was blown away when he first did that, and I was like,
the conversation's odd. The conversation's real weird because he walks in and he's telling him, "You better hurry. Your aunt's donuts are so tasty. I made them all up myself." And it was like, "Whoa, you sound a little weird there, Uncle Ben." Because now they already got me primed too. There's already a problem, and my head's already freaking wandering from the last part, and now I'm walk right into this.
I agree. That's where I was when I read that.
So I find it interesting that you go to Uncle Ben when they portrayed a girl being the abuser in the upper, maybe not Aunt May.
Yeah, well, because... Right. Well, I guess you don't think of an old lady. I mean, it can happen.
And it can. And we don't. Normally, you're mentally, you're not taught that women do that kind of stuff. So, like, you truly are taught that it is men more often than not. And maybe it is. I don't know the statistics behind it. But if you really think about it in your head, you're more likely to think that some guy would do that rather than a woman.
We know how guys think because we're guys, and we know
we're guys.
Disgusting. Yeah.
My point is not how the general consensus of thing. It's just they primed you with a female.
You would think you would go female afterwards, but his dialogue's weird. That's what got me.
But
thinking
at the same time, my mind didn't go there at all with those two.
It did for me.
I don't. Why show them at all? Why even show that part at all?
Because of the moral at the end. We'll get there.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
So Peter's being bullied by other kids, and so he spends most of his time in the library. And then this new kid shows up one day, and he takes to Peter, and calls him Einstein to become friends. I can't find his name, though.
The new kid's much older than Peter. His name is Stephen Westcott, is his name.
Yeah, Stephen Westcott. He's not that much older, though.
They made him with white hair, though.
And he's much taller than him. He's a lot taller than him. It reminds me of the kid with the girl, like the same height.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I think they did that on purpose.
Again, just to make him look more creepy.
Yeah. And he's probably older and a teenager and stuff like that.
Right.
So anyway, the two become friends, they hang out, they play pool together. And then one day, Stephen Westcott shows Peter some nudie magazines.
I like it. It says girly. Girlie.
Yeah, the magazine's girl. This is a weird way to go about it, too, huh?
Yes, very.
So Peter's looking at the magazine, and then Stephen Westcott's like, "Come on, Einstein, let's conduct a little experiment of ourselves." And Peter's like, "Please don't, Skip." And then in a text box it says below, "But the young boy was too frightened to leave."
So unlike the little boy in the beginning, Peter did have something happen to him.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what I found when I was looking up, it turns out, of course, that Skip was grooming Peter in order to ultimately take advantage of him.
Yes.
Sexually. While the story has never been referenced before or since in canon, it has also never been retconned, which means in canon, Skip Westcott did indeed molest a young Peter Parker.
Oh, well, okay. So I thought we were supposed to talk about this kind of stuff if it happens, and they never talked about it again.
Yeah.
That's a bad lesson. Yeah.
Well, they probably have the same feelings that you two did going into this.
It's a little odd.
Yes.
And I do understand the message, and I'm glad they're putting the message out there, but I don't know. It was strange.
Yeah, it's a little, not that it was a bad comic at all, it just was a little hard to read for me, I guess. I don't know.
As an adult, can you imagine as a kid?
Yes, it's, I don't know. And again, it's a good message, I get it. It's tougher for me, I guess.
And I hope it taught kids to not be afraid to speak up and stuff, but it scared me. Like, I felt bad after this comic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, after the incident, Peter goes to Aunt May and Uncle Ben and explains what happened. They don't tell you what happened to Westcott or whatever.
Yeah,
but
good. We don't need the details.
No.
But, so, it makes Tony feels better and to speak up to his parents. So Spider-Man swings them to the party that they're at, and they're like, "What are you doing with my son?"
Right. And it's a huge party, and the kid don't want everybody to know. The kid barely wants to tell his parents. Spider-Man swings through the window and drops him in the middle of a party.
Well, first off, the kid was just kidnapped by Spider-Man.
True.
I know he was taking him to his parents. I get it. But he still took the kid from his house.
Right.
And swung him across town.
But again, the kid's already embarrassed and scared, and Spider-Man takes him to a party with like 50 people.
Tell your parents right now in front of everyone.
Yeah,
do this.
Right. That's what I thought he was going to do. I thought he was going to tell them right there, but at least they take him in another room.
Yeah, they take him in another room. And it does say that the babysitter did touch him.
Yes, he does say that even to Spider-Man. She did start to touch him, but that's when you showed up.
Right, well, she was tickling him and stuff before that, too. Like, she was definitely touchy-feely with him.
Mm-hmm.
So the kid tells the parents, and the parents thank him, and then Spider-Man swings away. The end.
Okay, so now, Spider-Man, they take the kid in the other room, the kid tells the parents. Now everybody goes back into the party. What do they tell the people in the party that Spider-Man brought the kid there for? Right?
We have to go.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he traumatized this poor child after he already been traumatized.
No, probably. It probably traumatized the parents, too.
Yeah.
Kidnapped my kid, brought him to the party.
Right.
Anyway, you want to move on to the next one?
No, we're good. This is it. And the end.
Yeah, that was the end of the comic.
That one had a good message, and that one was very hard to read. The next one's much worse, just so you know. Much worse.
Again, I get the message. Great message.
Yeah.
Horrible story. Not like badly written. Horrible story. But anyhow.
So this one's called Runaway. It was written by Louise Simonson, I think is the name. The penciler was June Brigman and Mary Welshire. The inker was Bob Welsicken. The colorist was Glynis Wine. The letterer was Joe Rosen, and the editor was Jim Salcrop.
You forgot the editor-in-chief.
Well, that was at the top.
Jim Shooter. That's his
Jim
name.
Shooter is the editor-in-chief of the entire comic.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah, not just this individual story.
Gotcha.
So, we're going into Power Pack now. We're moving away from Spider-Man. I have little history of Power Pack. So
I have zero. This comic book, and I'll never read them again. That's it.
After this, I will not. I did read about, I want to say either 6 to 10 episodes of their stuff. It isn't bad. It's readable. It's decent.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of them, so.
Yeah,
this was not the way to be introduced to Power Pack. Because it has nothing to do with Power Pack storyline at all. And honestly, it doesn't even have anything to do with them even in this. So they help somebody out here, but that's all.
All right, this one's called Runaway, and we open up with a splash page of a girl named, I don't know her name. Jamie. And she's in a room.
Jane, I'm sorry, it's Jane.
Jane, yeah.
Jane in a room holding her ears as her parents fight in the next room. So she says her mom won't believe her, so she writes a note and runs away. And then we're going to the Power Pack apartment, I guess. I guess they all live in this little apartment.
Well, they live with their parents. That's their room, I'm guessing, because
I don't know, because you flew through like 3 pages and I couldn't even catch up to you at that point. I see it now. One's upside down on the couch, the other one's doing some kind of artwork on an easel.
Well, what did you want me to say? She literally packs her piggy bank away, she writes a letter while her parents are still fighting, and she runs away.
Yeah, they don't give you a whole lot of information there.
No. And then we go to the Power Pack apartment, and the Power Pack, I guess, consists of 4 kids and 2 parents.
Yes.
So the mother gets a phone call about if Jane was supposed to come over and hang out, but she never showed up, and she didn't show up at school, and so she ran away. And so Power Pack says, "We'll go look for her," and then they use their powers to go look for her. One of them
Are they charging their powers? Is that what they're doing to go get them?
Yeah. So the one girl actually she has to charge up by so she absorbs things to get the charge, and she's actually like the battery pack for the rest of the team.
Oh wow! Okay, that sounds wacko, but okay.
Yeah, it's interesting, but yes.
Well, one of the kids become lighter in air and essentially make them all fly. So
and one turns into a rainbow, and then the other one looks like a cloud or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he floats everybody where they're going. They don't go into anything in this. They got their powers from aliens. There's a whole story behind all that.
They mention the alien in this, but they don't get into it at all.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, I didn't even notice they mentioned it.
Yeah, guess the alien's name's Whitey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there was like an alien war, and there's all kinds of stuff behind their storyline. It is worth reading just to know it. But
I'm glad you read it because we would be so
yeah, we had no idea.
It's usually you're the one that's lost.
Well, see, now you're a little more in my element now. I'm a Marvel guy. You guys are DC. So for me, I've read a lot of Marvel comics, so I do know. Plus, I really liked Moon Knight, and these guys did pop up in one of the Moon Knight comics, which is why I ended up reading their 10 book series.
I honestly wouldn't say I'm a DC guy. Batman was my favorite, but I read a lot. I think I read more Marvel than I have DC.
Yeah, you also like Spawn and stuff.
Yeah. I branch out.
Yeah, and I stick mostly to Marvel, but I'm all over the place too. But I do like a lot of Marvel stuff.
All right, so they find Jane being harassed by a dog.
Yeah,
which is another strange story, but yeah.
Yeah, so they chase the dog off, and they're like, "Jane, why did you run away?" And she's like, "Well, I told my mom that my dad touches me, and she didn't believe me, so I ran away."
Oh my god. My stomach sank right as soon as I read that part.
Well, did you read the note she left?
I didn't read it on the podcast. Why?
Yeah, I just mean that's where once I read the note in the second page, I was like, "Oh no."
Dear Mom, I hate what Dad's been doing to me. I feel like I'm bad. It's all my fault. I tried to
this poor friggin' kid.
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen, so I have to leave. Goodbye. Love you, Jean. With her teddy bear left with the note. It was that was a little bit heart-wrenching there. I wasn't I didn't really like this. But I get it. I know why they have to tell these kind of stories, but it's
right.
It was rough.
So the kid's distraught, and he tells Power Pack what's been happening, and they say, "Come home with us and tell our mom," because no other adults will listen. And she does. So she tells their mom, and then the dad comes home, and she's worried that the dad's not going to believe them because, her dad's a dick. So
I hope you don't beat that out either. The dad's a dick.
The dad is a dick, and it is totally okay to say that on here.
Yes.
So, but the Power Pack parents believe him, and the dad picks up a phone to call the cops.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he calls her mom.
Well,
yeah, this isn't her dad. The guy with the beard isn't the one.
No, it's Power Pack's dad.
Yeah.
And after he talks to the girl, he calls the girl's mom, and the mom says that she does believe her now. And
then it ends with says, and Jane, remember, we're here, and we believe you. We'll try to help you and your family. The end.
So, problem, the little girl's being touched by her father. She's afraid to say anything. She finally gets, she runs away. They pick her up. Now, this guy, she starts talking to the dad of the Power Pack and says, "Help." What does she say? I'm scared. I don't want to get my family in trouble, right?
Yes.
So then he says, well, there aren't any miracles. So, I mean, it is important not to try. It is important not to try. The only way to make things better is to ask for help. So he doesn't tell her that everything's going to be okay.
No.
Because the reality is, it's not. Like, you
Right,
are
and
going
it's not going to be okay. But if this kid is so worried, like if there's a kid reading this that's so worried about getting their father in trouble, the way he says it would talk the kid out of
going to the police. And
yeah, because you're going to get your family in trouble. Right. They should have made it. I don't know.
Everyone.
Right there, I was completely turned off by that because they should be like, it's going to be fine. Because
this is going to be fine, and
it's never going to be fine. But guess what? You got to tell somebody, and that's it. Like, you're going to get people in trouble. He deserves to get in trouble. You know?
Yes.
To be fair, it's a P.S.A, not a comic book. So
true.
They're trying to get their points across that things isn't going to be okay, but it still needs to happen. If this was a Power Pack comic, I'm sure they would have.
See, but my problem with it is you're handing this out to kids, and I think this might scare kids away from telling.
Like, yeah, now that you told, things aren't going to be okay, but it's good that you told. But reality is things are going to be okay, and the only way they're going to be okay is that you tell people and you move on.
It's never going to stop if you don't say nothing.
If you don't say anything. Yeah.
Especially kids in 1984.
Yeah.
True.
But yeah. That was it.
Yeah, thanks for that one, TJ, because like now I don't feel like doing nothing. I'm like, I want to go to bed because I'm depressed, saddened by this story.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
You don't have a joke?
I mean, tell a joke. There's nothing funny about this, TJ. Why? You want a Spider-Man joke?
Yes.
Yes. Tell a Spider-Man joke to kill the light in the mood.
This one's not going to lighten the mood. Are you ready?
Okay.
The girl went on a date with Spider-Man, but she didn't like him too much because he was super clingy.
Wow, that was topical for this.
It's topical for this one.
Okay.
There was another one about him being in a sticky situation, but I didn't like that one at all, so I moved on.
Okay. Well, that's this episode.
He was.
Yeah. Again, we think nothing's funny about sexual abuse, and I don't ever want to read this comic book again. Thank you.
I will not. So yes, I will purge that from my memory. But okay.
I'm glad I made you read it.
Yes. Thanks.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
TJ here from Comics and Us, just here to plug the social media. Check us out on Twitter. Our handle is @EveryTNUs because someone took everything and us, but the name of the Twitter page is Everything and Us Podcast, and then the handle is @EveryTNUs. You can also check us out on Instagram, which is also Everything and Us. These all encapsulate all the podcasts that I do, but you're going to find all your updates for Comics and Us, Anime and Us, so forth and so forth. You can also contact us right now at everythinganduspodcasts@gmail.com. Still working on the website. And until then, that's where you can get a hold of us. That's all. Thanks for listening. Talk to you later. Bye.